Welcome back to Factory Sealed. It is April 1st, 2018. My name is Eric Peterson, and I'm the only one here today. Just kidding, it's Mike Tyson.
Hello, everyone!
Hi, Mike.
Are we working this time?
I think so. This is take 2.
Take 2. We have been trying to record this show for about an hour now and just had nothing but problems.
I woke up this morning and wanted to be Dan, so I started the day off by eating a bowl of Lucky Charms, and then I connected...
Standing at the window and dreaming of Australia for 5 minutes.
Looking out the window, wishing it were het.
Queued up for your window first.
Oh, God, believe me. I made all of my family members stand in line in front of me. Like, don't let me look.
Crystal! Are you done looking out the window yet?
When's my turn? Grab that Windex. I want it to be real clean. And then I took my laptop into the furthest reaches of my grandparents' house and connected to Wi-Fi. The only thing I didn't do on the way to the office was hit my head on the ceiling.
Well, maybe that's the cause of all our problems.
Ah, shit. I mean, these ceilings are pretty
high. Get up. Do it now.
Done.
What? That was the perfect sound effect. You haven't knocked your droopy mic over, have you?
Oh, my droopy mic.
Oh, your droopy mic.
That's what they called me in. They called me in high school, droopy mic.
I've still called it to this day.
Oh, poor Mike. Hazel, is he really called Droopy Mike?
Email in at factorysealed@manitoba.com.
You know they have medications for that.
Oh, you the one with the droopy cock. Here's your tablets.
Driver 38, droopy cock.
So we even lost. We've now got 2 versions of Unwrapped. One corrupt. So we had 10 minutes talking about droopy cocks and using your droopy cock as a handbrake in Driver.
Driver 38 has a driver that goes from being Russian to Italian to Nigerian to Indian in one conversation.
Oh, now it's lost to corruption, never to be heard again.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I blame Dan.
Well, we can always blame Dan. He's not here.
Yeah, he can't defend himself.
Exactly.
He's on the other side of the planet.
Both of them are here. You can rev up the bus. I'll rev up the lorry.
Beep, beep.
I'll rev up the semi.
Here it comes.
Beep, beep.
I'm going to throw Tom under the bus on this one because we had originally planned to do the show yesterday when it was largely more convenient because today's Easter and it's April Fool's and all that, and I'm down in Tucson spending time with family, and Saturday would have been the more convenient day, but Tom said, oh, I didn't see the original message. Imagine that. Tom not seeing the message. We've had to message...
Jeez, relay my messages.
We've had to message Kat to get a hold of Tom.
Yeah.
When he sat right by his phone. But good for Tom for not being a glued to the phone type. But he sends us a message this morning saying, oh, sorry, guys, it's a bit crazy here. I'm going to have to duck out on the show.
Cat's got too many shoes, so we're struggling to move.
Okay, so he put a phrase in there that what does it mean it's just a tip in here? Because that means something real different.
No, a tip. So, like a junkyard, or where like loads of rubbish is. In the UK, we call it a tip. So you would go to the rubbish tip. So when he said, oh yeah, it's a proper tip in here, he means it's like a rubbish tip, basically.
Because you take your dump truck and tip it in there.
Exactly, yeah. The system works.
You guys are so damn literal with everything.
Our language isn't that complicated. Just take everything literally and it's fine.
Well, shit, I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Of course it's
I always thought there was a deeper meaning.
Of course it's a biscuit. Fucking idiot.
You'd be proud of me. I was eating a chocolate cookie before this.
Oh, wait. Was it like actual cookie or was it like a peanut butter cookie? That's not what you guys actually call a cookie.
No, it's chocolate chip cookie.
So you guys don't have chocolate chip biscuits?
You can get chocolate chip biscuits, but there's a certain style of biscuit here that we call a cookie.
Yeah, like an actual real cookie. Otherwise, you guys eat sugared crackers.
No, but you guys have what we would call biscuits and call them cookies as well. Let's not get into this argument again.
I know we covered this for the entirety of 2015, but an Oreo is a cookie, not a biscuit. And it's partially a sandwich, too, so it's a cookie sandwich.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Except the only difference is with an Oreo, when you do that thing that they want you to do where you twist it off and dip it and all that shit. You wouldn't do that with a sandwich, would you? You wouldn't take the bread off, dip it in some milk, put it back on your sandwich.
No, what I do is I twist my sandwich, pull it apart, and then lick the innards out of it. And then I dunk the bread in warm water.
And then create a mask out of the bread.
Yes. So some context to that, Tom and I got into a stupid back and forth with dumb reviews in our WhatsApp chat where Tom finally got his Nintendo Switch dock.
And, no, it was a stand.
Oh, yeah, just the stand, not even a dock, just the stand. And he comes on in full American Tom voice and does the most asinine review of it. This here's Tom, and I'm going to do a review of this here stand. And as you can see, it stands up and it flips open, and you can
fits in your pocket.
Put in your pocket, and you put your Switch on it, and it does some stuff. That's my review of this stand. And for an hour, Tom and I just went back and forth reviewing stupid shit.
But Eric did he did a review of a piece of bread, and
it's
ridiculous enough as it is. But then it gets to a point where Eric's just and then you can stick your fingers in it, and you can wear it as a mask. But then the bread is ruined. Then you can't really eat it anymore.
You guys thought it was going to be a review of Mega Man because I had the camera start on Mega Man.
Ooh, the old bait and switch.
Ooh, it's the oldest trick in the book.
The old bread and switch.
I got to admit, though, your review of a cat was something else.
Well, I woke up to just all these fucking idiot videos from YouTube.
That's the best thing about the time zone differences. We all wake up at different times, like, what the hell's going to be in here today?
It's usually Dan and Tom wake up to just idiocy from me and you, because I get up ridiculously early for work.
And I'm always up way too late. But no, Mike does this review of what's your cat's name? Mickey?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just sitting, your cat does constantly look pissed off. And it's just sitting there in what I call the meatloaf position and just looking around like, are you really doing this? And the stupidest comment, this here's my review of a cat, and as you can see, it's soft, and you put little food in this end, and then it'll come out this end as little brown chunks. And if you're having trouble getting into the back end here, you can just scratch above the tail, and there you go, the butt lifts right on up. The stupidest thing that just had me in tears was your phrase about if you hear a slight rumbly sound, that means it's on.
The fact that the cat's just laid on top of Hazel, who's underneath the quilt. You know what? I might actually just share it on the group.
Oh, it's so dumb. We should probably just share all of them after this. I did a review of Tom's review.
So fucking dumb.
Our WhatsApp chat is just idiocy every day.
This idiocy never really turns off. We don't just play this up for the show.
This is us. We are not acting. But we all have semi-professional jobs. See what I did there?
Especially on the semi.
Because you drive a semi.
I drive a semi.
So what?
It's good to be back, by the way. I fucking missed last week. Well, last show. Unexpectedly.
Oh, yeah. You plugged the network cable into your car.
Oh, man, what a shitty few days.
Oh, sounds like it.
So, Hazel and I are attempting to. Well, we are moving to Sheffield because Hazel's got a new job in Sheffield, and we went across to basically look at houses to rent, and we chose one, and we applied for it and everything like that. And then we got a phone call the next day from the estate agents. Oh, the landlord's found his own tenants, so yeah, sorry, you can't have that. So I hurried to finish work. Quickly booked a load of viewings for me to go see by myself.
Just pulling the handbrake, dumping food off.
Got like 15 minutes, well, not even 15 minutes away from work, and my car just fucking breaks down, and I end up like sat in a lay-by waiting to be recovered. Like, just waits to be recovered, and then this guy just turns up with his his car transporter, and I end up getting taken away on that.
Do you guys call them something other than tow trucks there?
Nah, it's essentially a tow truck.
Oh, good.
Recovery vehicle, I think is
car transport.
Yeah.
It's the wrecker rig.
So then, yeah, I had to cancel all of these viewings that I'd hurried back to work to sort out, and then like just a stressful few days. I was like, Eric, I'm just not coming on the show.
It's all right. We took care of you.
And then I had my car had something checked on the car that they'd noticed, and I had to spend more money on it this week because apparently, the words of my mechanic, your brakes are shit. They are lethal. I'm surprised you haven't had an accident.
I like to live dangerously, sir.
So I've been driving around with shitty brakes for like the past couple of months.
Basically one thread away from being cut brake cable lines.
Yeah, essentially.
So are you back in full working condition with a car that's not trying to murder you?
Yeah, no, it's all good. And we've applied for another house. So with it being Easter and everywhere's shut, we're just waiting back.
So when do you guys move?
April 12th, hopefully.
Woof. So, yeah, so you're going to miss the next show.
At the moment. Yes, I did tell you that like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but you see, there's this thing called forgetting, and that's what I did.
Well, you're just a terrible person, aren't you?
I have a feeling Tom's not going to be on for quite a while.
Yeah, in fact, I might not even be on for the show after the next one as well, depending on what happens.
You guys do realize what happens when you leave me and Dan to do shows together.
Yes.
They get a little weird.
Yeah, but this is the first two-man show with me, so
I don't
know how this is going to go yet.
Ooh, good. That's off to a flying start so far.
That first take.
Ooh, that was rough.
Ooh, boy.
We had to ease Mike into it. And then I had to teach him about computers.
You've disappeared. Are you there?
Yeah. Boy, that couldn't have been more promptly timed.
Oh, no, it's happening again.
Oh, no. So back to where Tom is. He is taking care of his moving to Canada stuff.
I don't envy him. Well, I mean, I envy him in moving to Canada, but...
Yeah, but it's not quite Arizona.
No, further north, I believe.
I'm no geographer or cartographer, but I think you're right. But it's closer. He will now be within a respectable time zone of me half the year for playing games.
Within an arm's reach, sir.
I can shout and hit him.
Tom, just edge a bit closer. I wish to hit you.
Gets out his little earpiece. Huh?
Oh, the poor soul.
Poor soul. And then Dan is still exploring other het.
Yeah, he's uploading some lovely photos, though. Him and Chris.
Most of them are in focus.
I've not seen any out of focus yet.
Oh, I did. His first...
Wearing his jazz hat.
And Dan Curtis, Yaz Flute.
Oh, I want him to upload a video from Australia of him playing Yaz Flute. Oh, Yaz Didgeridoo.
Oh, Yazzery-doo.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. No, he had a scare at Ayers Rock with his missus, but I'll let him share that. So that was...
Yeah, but they're okay. That's
they
the
are.
main thing.
They are. They had to... So he said he had to spend the night in the Outback. Like, I wonder if you just had to lay down on the ground and go to sleep.
Spiders all over your face. Watch out for those dingoes.
Kangaroos, wallabies, koalas. They're going to get you.
They're a bit different to the ones in Het.
I don't think there... Is there a Het kangaroo?
There must be, surely.
They're probably just sheep. And then they just paint
why else
them
would he move there?
They paint them different colors to be different animals. This here's an elephant. That's just a gray sheep. This here's a snake. Nope, that's just a green sheep.
With the sheep kangaroo, they just attach a smaller sheep to the front of it.
They just tape it to its belly. Put a cardboard tail on it. That's kangaroo.
This comes out wearing a jumper. This is made from real kangaroo's wool.
Oh, poor Dan. He just can't get away from Het. It's okay.
Maybe if he bought Mario Kart, he could then ride on the cart of Mario into the sunset.
He still owes us that.
He said he'd buy it.
He said he would.
And Granger Games, which is a gaming store, his part of the UK, they might be closing down, so they might be going super cheap.
Do you think that if he found a Mario Kart 8 bundle that came with a Pro Controller on sale for below the cost of Mario Kart, do you think just to prove a point, he would still just buy the regular Mario Kart and not the controller?
100%. I like the normal controller. Thank you very much.
Dan, you can save $5 on the game and get a free controller. Don't want it.
Nope. I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna donate it to charity.
I'm gonna throw it in the bin.
At least he's not fucking Rocky now. We were quoting Dan before and for some reason became Rocky Balboa.
Crystal!
They're trying to get me to buy the Pro Controller.
What accent was that?
I don't know. I can only do so much Rocky per day, apparently.
Did you say Rocky Bidet?
No!
That'd be so uncomfortable. I'm just picturing like Sylvester Stallone's face like pulled out like to a bidet, like his massive lips just extended. Just
give it to me.
Just spurting
give
water
it to me.
out.
I'll wash you good.
See, I was thinking the other thing, like a bidet that just shoots rocks at your butt.
Yes, quite pleasant.
Dan, why is there so much blood in the toilet? It's my new Rocky bidet. Get tough.
Never felt so clean. Don't even stand up to use it.
My hemorrhoids are gone, but call an ambulance because I think I'm bleeding out.
I did it for you, clean ass!
Oh god, that's so dumb. I do like
what you gonna do? Gonna go play Persona 5.
Boy, that bus really hit Dan. Tom got out of it relatively unscathed for now.
Tom tends to be honest.
He's just so unassuming.
He misses so many shows that you'd waste so much bus fuel on him that it wouldn't be worth it.
Dan's misses are very few and far between, and when he's on the other side of the planet, you got to take full advantage.
Yes.
Great.
Poor chap.
Mike.
Hello.
How are you?
Quite good.
Good. So, I took your recommendation and bought a game this week.
Ah, yes.
That I'm so
glad you did.
I know that you've been waiting to Ghost Attack over. It's a haunted house in here. Oh, Hazel, don't come down here.
I've got some candy.
Yes, it's not quite a retro game, but we do need to talk about it because it kind of looks like a retro game, but Mike wants to talk about it, so we'll spend some time talking about it.
Yes.
You've been pressing us for a while now to buy a game on the Switch called Celeste.
Yes. Although I found out it's not just Switch. I believe it is on like PS4 and Xbox as well.
Is it?
which surprised me. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that. Shit, it's recorded now. Fuck! Restart the show! Restart the show again!
Abort! It's on Steam.
Could be factually incorrect. It is on Steam, definitely, for sure.
It is on PS4, Xbox One, Steam, and Switch.
And Switch. Nintendo Switch.
Mike, tell us about Celeste for a minute.
Let me tell you about Celeste. This fucking game, right? If any of you are Switch owners, you probably know that there's 1,000,001 games uploaded to the Switch eShop, there or thereabouts, every single week.
And every single one of them is impossible to find unless you know the exact title.
Exactly. So I'm always like, when you hear the success of a lot of the indie games that are coming over to Switch and they've sold much better on Switch than they have done the entire time they've been on like Steam and stuff like that, you know, you get interested. And IGN reviews Celeste. In fact, quite a few places reviewed Celeste, and IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. I was like, I'm going to have to check this out. So I think in America it's only like $20. You bought it. How much was it?
It was 20. I used some of my
20.
eShop points though.
That's good. I'm glad they started doing that. But yeah, so Celeste, basically, the premise of Celeste, it's a 2D puzzle platformer. You play as a girl called Madeline, who wants to climb this mountain, Celeste. It's pixel art, and boy, is it hard.
Interesting fact, did you know that it was created during Game Jam in 4 days? Not the whole game, but the prototype was created during Game Jam.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, now you do.
Interesting. So, yeah, 2D puzzle platformer. You essentially...
Super Meat Boy. It's essentially Super Meat Boy set on the side of a mountain, and you're not a wad of old meat.
Yes. And so basically you've got two abilities. One is like a mid-air dash, which you can do once in the air.
Like Mighty Number 9, which is shit.
Shit! And then also you can grip onto walls, but you can only grip on so far.
Like Assassin's Creed. So basically it's Super Meat Boy meets Mighty Number 9 meets Assassin's Creed.
But not shit.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes when you take a bunch of shitty ingredients and put it together, it becomes a 5-star cuisine.
Or a lovely cake. That Joy jumps out of.
Wait, who's Joy? How much does she cost?
Depends if you want her dead or alive. I mean, if she's in the cake before you bake it, then she's gonna be dead.
I mean, she could wear a suit.
A heat-resistant suit.
Yeah, just like a 3-piece suit.
This will protect me from the heat of the oven.
Boy, I look good doing it. Anyway, sorry, go.
So essentially, yeah, the actual game itself is very, very difficult, which Eric will attest to. You said you found some parts of it maddening, which I found interesting, because I, at no point during this game, felt frustrated. Like, it was hard, but I always felt like it was never unfair.
No,
but
it
essentially,
wasn't,
go on.
It wasn't unfair. It was just the level of precision needed for certain parts was insane. And then
some of those end bits.
I'll let you get on with explaining what it is before I get into the finer details of those parts.
Okay. So as you make your way through it's instant death. If anything gets you, any of the traps get you, it's instant death. But you always start off from the beginning of the screen, which I believe is the same in Super Meat Boy as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, any accident you do, if you hit spikes or get crushed or anything, you literally start back at the beginning of the screen you're on.
And the saving grace for this game is that the load time is almost zero. Had there been a 3-second load time, it would have killed me, because by the end of the game, I died 1,500 times.
Yeah, I mean, literally the first level, you rack up good sort of 200, 300 deaths. And, you can have one screen where you're essentially... It takes 50, 60 attempts. Because this sounds like it'd be frustrating, but it is... Well, I didn't find it frustrating, where you know exactly what you need to do to pull it off. And you just can't do it sometimes. It's, like you said, it's that level of precision that you need.
Well, and it takes it to another extreme where it's not just one or two really precise jumps in a row. It's, towards the end of the game, an entire series of them that you have to master perfectly. So you get like the first 7 sections of that screen down perfectly just to uncover the last section. And then you have to go through the first 7 sections again 5 or 10 times to figure out how to do the last section of it, dying all that time in the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were monstrous, those parts. But the reason why I wanted to bring this game up so much is it sounds, I think I'm underplaying it quite a bit here because it just sounds like a typical 2D platformer, but it touches on some themes and a story arc that I don't think many games have been able to touch very well, and coming out of it, it's such a fantastic experience because of it touches on these themes. Now, the idea that a 2D platformer can touch on things like anxiety, depression, your fear of not being able to conquer anything you're doing is that this does. It's absolutely incredible.
Well, and it doesn't do it in a very heavy-handed way either. It's very subtle, and you take out of it what you want. It doesn't beat you across the face with, hey, this is about this, and here's this big narrative and expose on why this is this way.
Yeah, there's very few bits of dialogue, but every single bit of dialogue is important.
And you can miss a lot of it, too. So there's certain story sections where you talk to somebody, and then you can walk away, but if you don't go back and continue talking to them until they're done, you're going to miss 50% of the story.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I will not give any spoilers here, because I do think that if you're going to go and play this, you need to go in without knowing the story. I think it'll be ruined. So anything I say here, I will touch on the themes and the ideas of the game and stuff like that, but I will not spoil it for anyone. But there is one character that you meet called Theo, and he's obsessed with kind of taking selfies with you. And he's on his own personal journey as well. And the great thing is, his Instagram account that he mentions on it actually exists. So you can go onto the Instagram account and you see like the pictures of him getting ready for his trip, and then you see like the pictures he takes with Madeline as he's going through and things like that.
Huh.
But have you not checked it out?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's on there. It's cool. It's so cool. Like there's little pictures of him with his family, like getting in the car and going along to the mountain and everything like that. But yeah, going back to like the themes and how it touches on, and it's open to interpretation quite a bit. But the reason why it feels so important to me, I'm probably going to get a bit serious here. I do apologize. I know we're normally all dick jokes and fart jokes, but in terms of mental health, I mean, me and Hazel, I've spoken to her and she's quite happy for me to discuss this with her because I said about how important this game touched me. But Hazel herself recently went through quite a big bout of depression after her dad died a couple of years ago. And she's always suffered a little bit of anxiety and things like that. And me myself, I've been at very low points in my life as well. Not to get too negative on it, but back in 2012, I was at such a low point, I actually attempted to take my own life. And when you have a medium that you love so much, like video games, that can't really touch on these themes very well, to find a game that does it in such a refreshing way really, really just clicked with me. And I took from this game, there's a lot of parts in the game where you feel it's kind of implied that due to her, the way she feels, that's affecting the real world. Mm-hmm. And it's her battle through what she's doing and knowing that parts of her anxiety and things like that will get her through, and her acceptance of it. Now, anyone who's been low or suffered from depression and things like that before know that one of the hardest parts of it is you feel even worse because you know that you shouldn't feel a certain way. And I took from this that Madeline's journey, she gets to a point where she realizes it's okay to not be okay. And it just really, really resonated with me. And just game of the year for me so far.
Yeah, putting it in that perspective too, I mean, I think, like you mentioned, everybody's been at really low points in their life. I myself have been quite down there as well, to the point where it's been hospitalization. And the thing that struck me the most story-wise was the character you meet who is trying to prevent your progression. Mm-hmm. And the meaning behind that, and everybody thinks, oh, you just need to move on from this and just let it go, and how this game addresses that. And no, you don't need to let it go. You need to accept it because that is a part of you. You just need to learn to control it.
Yeah, completely. Absolutely. And considering it's a text-based 2D platformer, it has absolutely no business being able to deal with this in the way it does.
No, and also be a fantastically fun game in the same vein.
Exactly. I mean, this game could be a 10 out of 10 with just the gameplay alone, I think.
Yeah.
But just the added structure of it. And I looked at a few. There was a AMA on Reddit with the creators of it, and someone asked them, as someone who was any of you, dealt with these things before when you first did it, and the creator Matt Thorson, who I believe he was involved with Towerfall, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that the quote here is, I've personally dealt with anxiety and depression for my entire life. I remember being depressed as young as 9 years old. And he goes on to say that basically, I'm going to paraphrase some of this, but when they started Celeste, they didn't know how it would end. They didn't even realize they were going to put that in. And they started doing it, and he said during the process of creating the game, he got a lot better at taking care of himself and working through his own anxieties and things like that. And I think that really shows in the game that the themes and how Madeline progresses through the story and how she ends up feeling about herself and the way she feels and how that reacts on the world, to know that he kind of went through that journey with it, you can see that in there. And it's, like I said, just give the game a go. If you enjoy 2D platformer, it's going to be fantastic anyway. But if you've ever dealt with depression and anxiety and things like that a lot of us have, I think you'll get a lot from this game.
I think everybody's going to be able to find something that they relate to, because I think at some level, everybody deals with that. Some people it manifests more strongly than others, and being able to see this in a medium, like you said, that for me, when I was going through all of that in high school and early college, games were what I receded into. So to be able to see how I worked through it manifest in a game, it is powerful. It really definitely is very powerful.
And yeah, I don't know what else I can say other than just give it a go. It's really, really touched on me. Really, really has. It's resonated with me so much more than any game has for a long, long time, I think.
For $20, you can't go wrong. I mean, it's hard to spend $20 and be mad at a game like this. $60 probably would have been a bit much.
But I mean, going back to the actual gameplay itself as well, there's so much content here. So within the game itself, you can unlock what's called B-sides, which are essentially harder versions of the actual levels.
I haven't tried any of the B-sides, but based on how difficult some of the normal levels are, I don't know if I want to.
Well, I found out, this isn't really a spoiler, I found out that after you do the B-sides, there is then later C-sides, which are even harder. Yeah.
That's insane.
But there's optional challenge in there as well. So within the actual levels, there's these strawberries you can collect, and they're completely optional. And the game even tells you itself that they're completely optional. They're kind of for bragging rights, really. And that some of those, just to get them, like I gave up collecting them because it got to a point where I was just wasting so much fucking time getting them. But for your completionists out there, if you want to go to the extra challenge of getting all the strawberries, and there's some other little hidden bits as well, for $20, the content is unreal.
That would be unreal. Dan, for sure. Dan will collect 100% of everything. Yeah,
for sure. But I mean, going back to the deaths as well, I mean, you rack up thousands and thousands of deaths, and the themes and stuff that we've spoken about so far, it almost ties into it as well. So it's using your deaths as a... not as a badge of honor, but learning experience, and your struggle through completing the game fits into that whole the struggle you made, that Madeline takes to get through the ordeal that she has.
Yeah, I mean, what I took away from it is, for her, life is difficult. Everybody has their demons. How you face those demons and how you learn from your mistakes is what makes you who you are.
Yeah, beautifully put, Eric.
Yeah,
beautifully put. Yeah. Anyway, dick, fart, fart, dick, fart. Didn't want to get too heavy there.
Yeah.
But no, I've been wanting to Ghost Attack over this, and
no, it definitely is good.
I don't think I've articulated some of it too well, but
I don't think you can much more, because you don't want to give away any of the major stuff.
Exactly. But
the thing that I will say that
that
I really liked is how they segmented the game with different abilities, and they got you to the point where you felt really, really comfortable doing really complicated things with this set of abilities, and then they just trickle fed you a new ability, and they allowed you to play with that new ability within the previous style of levels that you'd been doing before they introduced the really difficult mechanics that required the new ability. So it progressed. The difficulty level wasn't a brick wall. It was steep the entire time, but it was fair.
Yeah.
And
dude, that soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. One of the best soundtracks for a long time.
I will say that I kind of felt like I was rushing through it because I only collected 30 of 175 strawberries because I wanted to have it done so we could chat about it on the show today.
I was surprised you rushed through it so quickly, to be honest.
I mean, I put 8 hours into it in 3 days.
Yeah.
So whenever I come down to my grandparents' house, I always have a game on deck that I need to just obsess over, and this one happened to be it.
Yeah, I mean, the Switch portability helps with that as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I banged on for a while about how I was able to put so many hours into Breath of the Wild because of the portability.
Now,
so I could just put in an hour here, an hour there, and where I needed to, and
with
be able
this,
to play this portable.
Did you play more using the D-pad or the joystick?
Joystick.
See, I did 99% with the D-pad until I got to the very end. There's the feathers that allow you to fly around with really precise movement. Had to use the joystick for just that one section. Otherwise, everything else was D-pad.
It's funny because whilst playing through it, I personally felt that it was designed for you to use the joystick.
Probably,
and I was intrigued to how, because I know you have the opinion that anyone who uses a joystick for 2D platforming is a heathen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If I see you playing Mega Man with a joystick, I will break that controller.
What if it's Dan's Pro Controller?
I'll just tear the joystick off, and he can use just the D-pad.
But no, I felt that I was intrigued actually. I was going to ask you about this, about how you played it, because I honestly felt like the joystick is the way to go with this, and it's the only 2D platformer where I've ever felt that.
Yeah, 2D platformers are just ingrained in me for D-pad. Can't do anything else.
Too much Mega Man.
Too much Mega Man. It broke me. But I also did
mentally and physically.
I did complete another game since our last show that I talked about a little bit. I finally finished Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
How was it?
Fantastic. What a cool game. It did get a little frustrating towards the end because it was just series of boss after boss after boss after boss. And if you don't have all the proper items and everything saved up, or if you haven't leveled up enough, I ended up beating the game 10 levels under-leveled because I didn't feel like spending 5 hours to go back and just grind up to level 40. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to throw myself at this final boss and hope I get lucky. Ended up beating him with one character dead and the other person had less than 10 HP.
So how does Superstar Saga work? Because I've only played Partners in Time, and on that one you've got Mario and Luigi, and you've got baby Mario and Luigi.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got your 4 face buttons. So A and B controls the baby ones, and X and Y controls the adult ones.
Very similar, because this came before Partners in Time. So Mario and Luigi, you're just assigned to their button, and you can, I think I talked a little bit about this last show, where you can defend against every attack from the enemy or jump over them, or you've got your different bro attacks using A and B as combinations.
Bro
force.
Bro force.
But as you're progressing through the actual overworld, you can get different skills, like the ability to jump higher, hit Mario to shrink him down to go through little pipes, or Luigi goes underground to get under fences, do a tornado to get across different levels. So the world is really intricately designed, instead of it just being a very linear style progression like Mario RPG was. It's definitely a fantastic RPG. It's long too. It took me like 32 hours to get through.
Yeah, I never finished Partners in Time, but I remember sinking quite a lot into it.
I think is that one that they said they're redoing for... No, they're doing Bowser's Inside Story.
Bowser, yeah. Which I found interesting, because I'm sure that's already a DS game. I know it's now becoming a 3DS game.
But if you look at the screenshots of the original Superstar Saga versus the remake, they completely rebuilt it. It's not like
but
they
wasn't
just
Superstar Saga Game Boy Advance originally?
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense a bit, but I don't understand why they're doing like Bowser's Inside Story was a DS game and then
I don't know, probably
making it for 3DS.
Probably to refresh it and get it out to a new market because it's not that easy to find.
Yeah, true. I mean, I haven't been on since that Nintendo Direct, but seeing the images of Bowser's Inside Story, it made me want to play it. It looks like an interesting dynamic because I got the impression of it. I mean, I've not played it. With the two screens, you've got the bit where you're controlling Bowser on the top screen and the brothers are inside him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Someone who's played it, someone who's played it is going to have to like explain it to me. Well, might be able to explain it to me better. But it looked like a very, very interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I'll pick up.
It did make me want to play it.
I still need to go back to the Superstar Saga and do the Minions side quest. That's like another 8 or 9 hour story.
What, the weird yellow guys?
Yes, those are in a Mario game now.
Well, we've had rabbits, so why not?
My door to the office just opened.
Ooh, who is it?
I was hoping Tom was going to be on because I owe him.
I thought you were about to say. I was hoping Tom was going to be the one opening the door.
I owe Tom a semi apology for my comments about Mario Run last week.
Go on.
I'm hopelessly addicted.
Have you got the actual premium? Have you paid for the premium one then?
Yeah, it was on sale for $5 for the last day that I'd actually thought about it before it went back up to 10. So it's insane. It's one of those games that I think you guys should both, like you and Dan should both get, because Tom and I have been, as you've seen, sending pictures back and forth of competing scores. When I first played the demo when it first came out, I'm like, this game's just not fun.
Yeah, I think I spent 5 minutes on it. Went, not for me.
Give it a shot. It is premium Mario game.
Okay.
So the way it progresses is, if for anybody who doesn't really know what it is, I don't know, remember if Tom explained it, but it's one of those not infinite runners, but it's a actual Mario game that has 4 stages, 6 worlds, drop into each level, and Mario just instantly runs, and you're just in charge of getting him to the end of the level. But where the competition comes in is the collecting of coins. And if you're really mapping your route out, because you can't go back. Once you miss something, you cannot go back. So it's mapping out the perfect route through each level to get maximum amount of coins. And then there's collectibles within each level, like pink coins. And then once the pink coins, you have all those collected and you beat the level, then it goes on to purple coins, and they're placed in more difficult locations. And once you have all the purple ones, switches to green coins, and those are in really difficult locations. But at the bottom, it shows everybody on your friends list and who has the best score out of all of your friends. So Tom and I are just constantly going back and forth, and he's beaten me on certain levels by 1 coin.
I was going to say there's been a few where you've said, I'm just like, ooh, tight.
And then they have the Star Road levels. There's 3, 6, 9 star levels. But to unlock those, you need to do ridiculous stuff in the actual levels, like complete one level with 400 coins or defeat 20 enemies within this level. And it's going through those levels and hitting it absolutely perfectly to unlock those. And then the star levels are even more difficult. It's the best $5.
The challenge is always there.
100%. It's the best $5 mobile game I've ever purchased.
Interesting. If it's still on offer, I might have to take a look.
It's even for just a Mario game, it's fantastic. The fact that you're not controlling Mario running around back and forth, but just to see that Nintendo premium and that polish on it.
I don't think if it's back up to its original price, which I think was £10 here, I probably won't. If it's down. If it's still on offer, then I might take a look.
I would say it's still worth $10.
Yeah,
but definitely for $5. If it's $5, you got to get it, because it's one of those. It's my go-to crapping game, but I'll find myself, if I'm sitting outside a meeting waiting, I'll just pop it open and play a couple levels.
It's interesting. There's another podcast I listen to every now and again, and one of the guys on there, he's it's not a real campaign, but he's really pushing at the moment for people to, because he plays a lot of mobile stuff, and he's been chatting about recently, start ignoring these, freemium games and actually pay for, the games where you pay just one price up front. It might be $10-15, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Start supporting these guys because there is some fantastic content out there.
Oh yeah,
but it's so hard to find. It's like it's like the eShop and everything like that. Everything comes up, and everything's all the freemium stuff on the mobile store. I mean, obviously, I use an iPhone, but everything on there, it's all the freemium stuff, and you don't really find the gems. And I generally find in terms of journalism, they're not highlighted very much as well. You constantly see IGN or GameSpot or whatever covering all these big releases on the consoles, but there's not really an avenue for these games that you can pay up front to have a proper experience on your phone.
Yeah, I have friends that are just hopelessly hooked on those freemium games where you have to build something and then wait 6 hours for it to be done, and then amass an army and then wait 7 days for it to reach its target. Like, I can't get into that shit.
Yeah, and then wait for 70 million years.
Yes. I don't think there's any microtransactions in Mario Run. I think it's just the unlock the full game.
I know there's you're talking about your gold coins and everything like that on the Switch. If you log onto your Nintendo account online, there are some unlocks that you can. You get the silver coins as well for your purchases. If you go onto your Nintendo account on the Nintendo website, you can actually unlock a few bits using your silver points for Mario Run. Like, I think there's some characters and stuff.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of stuff to unlock. So what's really cool is they have this mode called Remix Mode, where they string together shortened versions of different levels, and you play 10 of them consecutively, and it takes like 2 minutes to get through. But you can do remix challenges where you just choose somebody in your friends list or just a random competitor, and then you have little toads cheering for you, and depending on who wins, you get all those toads to come to your kingdom, and there's the green, the red, the blue toads, and depending on how many of those you have in your kingdom, you unlock different buildings, which then entice different characters to come in, like Yoshi and Peach and Toad, that you can then play as. So right now, I think I bought it at a time where for that giveaway or for the discount, they were giving you Luigi. So I got Mario and Luigi to play with, and then you can unlock Peach and Yoshi and Toad that I know of. I haven't seen what all the rest of them are.
I think they actually, don't hold me, I can have a look in a moment. I think you can actually get Toad for free off the Nintendo website. You don't have to spend any silver coins on it. I could be wrong, though. I think I've already claimed it. Not that I played Super Mario Run, but I think I just claimed it because it was there.
I would definitely say give it a go. If anybody else ends up picking it up, let me know, and I'll throw you on the friends list for some challenges, because this brought Tom and I back to the day when we were both playing Sleeping Dogs. And have you ever played that?
Yes. Yeah, I finished it last year, actually.
So if you ever played or paid attention to the online portion of it, there's street challenges for how fast you've gone down a certain street for an extended period of time or something. I don't remember the specifics of it, but Tom would always sit and try to struggle to beat my scores that I had set on those levels, and it just brought us back to competing on that.
Yeah, I felt like I missed out on, because I played Sleeping Dogs so late. I feel like I really missed out on that.
Yeah, it's definitely worth. Mario Run is definitely worth $5. If it's still on sale, definitely pick it up. I never thought I would recommend a mobile game,
but here you
aside from Roller Coaster Tycoon, but like an actual just designed from the ground up for mobile. Here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the Nintendo website now. Yeah, Toad for Super Mario Run, 0 silver points. And then there's things on there like gold statues, coins. So you can spend 140 of your silver points and get 3,000 coins, for example. There's some bits for your kingdom building as well, like some blocks and some flowers and things like that.
I will spend $0 actual dollars on this, aside from the purchase price.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it now, and I've got 970 of those silver coins, which are just fucking pointless, really, apart from because they give you some discounts on the Wii U store and stuff like that. But the most expensive thing on here is 250 silver coins for 10 Toad Rally tickets, whatever that's for.
Oh yeah, to do the Toad Rally, you need a specific ticket. I've been playing it, and I have over 100, so I'm never going to run out.
Yeah. But it might be worth, because, I mean, those silver coins are generally quite useless, so it might be worth you having a look. How is it in terms of... Because I know you said you don't really see microtransactions in there. What about you said about the Toad Rally tickets and stuff like that? Could you buy them if you wanted to?
I don't know. I never looked into it because I will not do that.
It'd be interesting to see if it's an actual feature, but they just don't push it because they're Nintendo.
I don't know.
Because normally these things, they're like, gotta buy it, gotta buy it, gotta buy it!
Yeah, they just beat you over the face with it. You don't want to see these ads, you gotta buy it.
Let me show you this ad, dude. You want this dick in your face? You gotta pay for it to get this dick out of your face. $10, no dick in your face. And you're sat there with your hand in your chin going, oh yeah, no dick in my face.
That's
$10.
a great
yeah,
$10 well spent. I do not enjoy dicks in my face. But then again, I could spend $10 on something else and just close my eyes. Oh God, it's a dick. $10 here.
Do you still get the waft of the dick?
Oh God.
Suddenly someone's playing dick or finger under your nose.
Is that a game you play? Hazel, does Mike play dick or finger? That sounds like a terrible game.
If she guesses dick and it's my finger, I'm gonna have to go and wash my hands.
And go be a little bit embarrassed.
Oh dear! Did you picked up Ni no Kuni as well, didn't you?
I did. Oh God, did I? Mike,
how is it?
I'm a bit ashamed. I was going to forget about talking about that.
Ooh, it's a good job I'm here. Because just for you waffling on about dicks in your face.
Oh man, I just had a shiver go down me talking about Ni no Kuni.
Oh, your dick not so
no
droopy.
More droopy, not droopy. Ni no Kuni. Ni no droopy dick.
Kuni cock.
Yeah, Kuni. Ni no Kuni dick. 2. Phenomenal game.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, when I first put it in, obligatory, oh yeah, I wasn't very impressed.
Was it because you realized you'd opened it?
Well, that was it. That was one.
Just pushing the game case into the console.
So I actually had the Ultra Premium whatever edition pre-ordered. And then
Mega Man.
I canceled my collector's edition version and just ended up buying the regular version because in thinking about it, don't need all that extra shit. And the White Witch edition from Ni no Kuni 1 was so hard to find. It was literally on pre-order for a day and then sold out permanently. They never made more of them. The fact that you could still relatively easily get the Ultra Edition, whatever it's called, the day before the game released tells me that it's really not that rare. Don't really need it for that then. And then the Collector's Edition was an extra $20 for a steelbook and essentially a soundtrack. And then some piece of paper craft that's going to fall into the garbage as soon as I open the box.
Yeah, it doesn't seem worth it.
I'll typically buy the Collector's Editions if they're $10 more just to get the steelbook because those are super cool, but not for $20 more. But the reason I wasn't initially impressed is you've recently played the first Ni no Kuni. The opening to that game, like the first 45 minutes was just grandiose, just really powerful, really well done, high production value, fleshed out story. It just kind of, it had that cinematic feel to it, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't finished it yet, and if I'm honest, I've kind of got distracted with other things. I've got up to the point where you get the third. I've literally just got the third character.
Oh, so you're still not super far.
So yeah, I'm not very far at all, but like my interest is kind of waned a little bit. Not because of Ni no Kuni itself. It's more just other things are distracting me.
So Ni no Kuni 2's intro, it's janky. It feels disjointed and like just slapped together at the end, and there's no real big opening cutscene that kind of lays out this adventure that's about to happen. There's a mutiny happening in Ding Dong Dell, and King Evan, who's just recently taken the throne and hasn't really had a chance to get what they call their kingmaker, who's this powerful being that pairs himself with a king to make them a king and give them all their power over their kingdom. So there's a mutiny within Ding Dong Dell, and King Evan rushes out, but in the process, he is met by a guy named Roland, who at the very beginning of the game, you see this guy riding in a limousine into New York City, and a nuke explodes over the city, and he wakes up and then disappears and reappears in Ni no Kuni, or in the land of Ni no Kuni. So he takes on the role of bodyguard for Evan and gets him out of town. And the whole point of this game is for Evan to fulfill a dying wish of the person who raised him after his parents had died. She said, I want you to make a place where everybody can live happily ever after. So it does have a very childish feel to it, in that Evan is this kid with this sense of naivety about, I can do anything in the world and everybody can be happy. And Roland is the opposite of that. You assume he was a president in our real world. So he comes to the table with this rational thought of, here's how the real world actually functions. And it's a really cool checks and balances on it. But they didn't spend a whole lot of time fleshing that out. They just drop you into the game, which kind of feels a little bit disjointed for something that's supposed to be a big, grand, sprawling RPG like the first Ni no Kuni was.
Okay.
But it's not bad in any sense of the word. It just, compared to the first, it just felt like a rushed introduction. But
how does that feel with the pacing, though? Because I'm generally finding with the first Ni no Kuni that it takes so long to kind of get anywhere.
No, the pacing in this game is fantastic. And I think what's really cool about that is they've completely revamped the battle system.
Okay.
Long gone are the days of the Pokemon style monster raising and feeding and controlling sprites or controlling your familiars and stuff like that. Everything happens in real time now. So there's two. This is where it's difficult to explain. You are able to walk through the dungeons and see the enemies in the dungeons and then engage them in real time without flipping into a battle scene.
Okay.
So very similar to Kingdom Hearts style battle, where you can switch between your characters at any time. But what's really cool is there's a lot of, despite the combat being insanely easy, I've died twice in like 12 hours. And that's because I engaged an enemy that was 25 levels higher than me. I'm like, well, let's just give this a shot. That didn't work. But each character can equip 3 weapons. And as you're attacking, you've got these icons. I forget off the top of my head what they're called. They fill up, and those are what...
Steve, Trevor, and Kevin.
Correct. Steve, Trevor, and Kevin fill up, allowing you to do your magic attack. So essentially acts as your mana. But as you're attacking, each weapon accrues points towards 100%. And once it reaches 100%, if you use a special attack using that weapon that's full up, it will modify that special attack. So if you're doing like a spin attack with just your basic weapon that's only at like 40% full, if you do it with something that is 100% full, it will add fire to it, and then he'll add a final finishing blow or something like that and modify your magic. So they give you the ability to auto switch so that you're always using the weapon that has the least amount full. And then once you do a magic attack, it'll switch to the one that's auto full, or you can do semi-automatic, or you can do fully manual. So I personally play on fully manual, so I have complete control over what's happening in the battle. It's really fast-paced. I mean, I sent you guys a video of how fast-paced and quick some of the battles are. Most of the engagements last less than 30 seconds.
See, this sounds like it's more... This is nothing bad on the first Ni no Kuni, but I mean, I enjoy RPGs, but they don't get me as hard as you and Dan get for RPGs.
Oh yeah,
and with the first Ni no Kuni, as I said, with the pacing, you know, I am finding the beginning. Well, I mean, I'm past the beginning now, but I am finding it a little bit of a struggle to keep going in terms of, you know, can I be asked to play that? You know, if I want to play it, I need to know I've got a good few hours to kind of sink into it. But this sounds like, for someone like me who casually likes RPGs, sounds like it's a much easier entry point.
Yeah, and once you get out of the dungeons proper and you get into the overworld, this is the one part of the game that doesn't sit well with me. The overworld is still as majestic and gorgeous with a cool soundtrack as the original Ni no Kuni, but they made all of the characters chibi. And it just doesn't fit. It looks really disjointed. So you go from this really gorgeous hand-drawn cel-shaded to what looks like World of Final Fantasy polished, shiny, small, round chibi characters.
That's an interesting approach because obviously they've gone to the PS4 now.
Yeah.
And it does, and the world map looked fantastic on Ni no Kuni, and that's just on the PS3, so it's a very interesting design choice. It doesn't sound like it's, a graphical standpoint in terms of them struggling for resources. It seems like an actual choice where they've gone, you know what, yeah, let's make them chibi.
It just, some people may really like it, I don't. So as you're out on the world map, you can see the enemies that you want to engage, and it actually puts their level above them. So red will mean it's more difficult. Orange means it's slightly more difficult. I think green is, hey, this is within you, so you're good to go. And once you engage them, then it flips into battle mode. So that does take you to a different scene. You don't fight them in real time on the overworld.
Yeah, definitely seems like a strange design choice. I mean, if you complete real time, you don't go into a battle scene when you're in the dungeons and everything. Going to the world map, you're going to have to go into the battle scene. But
it's quick though; it's a really quick load. That's why they've gone on the
chibi front. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the other part that's really cool is you collect these. In sticking with the aspect of familiars from the first game, you collect these things called Higgledies, which look like little Pikmin characters. And as you progress through the game, you can get different Higgledies that passively help you in battle. So as you progress through the battle, they will form up and create a little circle on the ground. And if you walk into that circle and press X, they will start attacking the enemy as well. So one group of Higgledies will form like a cannon and launch cannonballs towards the other enemies to do area AoE damage. Other ones will cast healing spells on you. So it adds a fun little element to the battle. It really helps in the boss battles or the side quest difficult aura battles, which you get into 5 or 6 hours in, where you only get to heal 10 times in a battle. So even if you have 200 healing items, they limit you. You can only use 10 of them per battle.
How restrictive does that feel?
It doesn't feel restrictive at all in the normal battles, but there are some major enemies out there that have like a demonic aura to them, and they're much more difficult. You have to be very strategic about how you attack them and utilize your magic and all your healing items. So that's the part that thankfully has a little bit of difficulty to it.
So you're not just breezing through it then?
I'm breezing through the main part of the game, but what gets really cool is the kingdom builder. It's not as robust as I was hoping it would be, like a Dark Cloud 3 style, but
oh yeah, you were well excited about this, weren't you?
Yeah, so you eventually walk out into the overworld and you say, here's where we want to start our kingdom. And there's a really weird RTS element to the game as well, where if you want to take over a plot of land on the countryside, you have to engage the enemies in like a RTS style battle where you group up with a little circle of archers and swordsmen and you just march through, and you're like L1 rotates them counterclockwise or clockwise, R1 rotates them clockwise, and you have to position them so the swordsmen are in the front and the archers are in the back, and then you can call in reinforcements. You can call in like the sky pirates to drop bombs on them, and it looks like an honest-to-God RTS that's happening. And as you're marching across this battlefield, tearing down structures and obliterating the enemy, it's fun, it's not difficult, but it's just a weird inclusion to the game. But that's how
Does it fit in, though? Because that something like that sounds like it could easily be just shoehorned in and not fit. So how does it fit? It
feels shoehorned in.
Oh, that's a real shame.
It's neat. It doesn't detract from it, but it's not like I don't find myself wanting to rush out and do those. But you have to do them to expand your kingdom, and your kingdom is where you go out into the world and you recruit other people to come back and live in your kingdom. And each person has a specialty that you can associate with weapon making, armor enhancements, spells, higgledy training and things like that. And each person has a specific IQ level. And as you group them together within there, the IQ level of that collective building goes up, allowing you to research better spells or have higher level higgledies or create better weapons or upgrade your armor to further levels.
It sounds almost a bit like the R&D bit on Mother Base on Metal Gear Solid 5.
Peace Walker. Very similar to it, yeah. And your kingdom will passively generate a very finite resource called King's Gilder, which you're not going to be able to upgrade absolutely every single thing in your kingdom. So you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to focus on. So do you want to be more magic-based, or do you want to be just a walking tank, or do you want to have a bunch of really super powerful higgledies and some slight combination of the others? Because you can level up each of your facilities, which costs King's Gilder, and then raises the influence of your kingdom. So there's a lot of stuff to really manage, and it's easy to forget to go back to your kingdom. And you'll notice that because the game starts to get a little bit disconnected in its ease and how it's flowing and what you're able to do. So, for example, there's blue chests hidden out in the world. They're like, oh, this is locked. And incorrectly, I assumed at the beginning that, oh, I'll find a key for it. But no, you actually unlock a spell that allows you to go and unlock these chests. But you wouldn't know that unless you level up your Spellworks facility and get a person in there with enough IQ to research that spell.
So, in terms of the kingdom building and everything like that, I mean, you said it feels shoehorned in.
Oh,
I know you're only
the kingdom building
12 hours in.
The kingdom building isn't shoehorned in. Not at all. The RTS element is shoehorned in.
Yes, yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. I know you're only sort of 12 hours in, but is it something that could be ignored if you weren't interested in it, or is it something that you're not going to be able to progress in the game without dealing with it?
No, you have to, 100% you have to. That's the whole point of the game, is building your kingdom. Mm-hmm. So you're adventuring across the land to recruit people to come to your kingdom to help you build it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. So, do you find that it's ruining the experience, or?
Oh no, for me it's elevating the experience, because most RPGs fall victim to the dreaded side quest, fetch and retrieve type trope. This one, to get people to come to your village or to come to your kingdom, you have to do something for them. Whether it's, oh, hey, my grandma taught me this skill of building swords, and I'd like you to go out and kill 10 skeletons with her sword so that I can leave it here on her shrine as an honor to her before I move on to this next aspect of my life. Cool things like that. The way that they structure those quests makes each one of them feel unique and genuine, instead of just, oh yeah, bring me this bush and then I'll come. But what's really cool, I've only discovered one actual city, but level 5 is second to none in their ability to generate living, breathing, engaging cities, and then the stuff that's going on within it. So without ruining too much, the first one that I've come to is a feudal Japanese style city that thrives on fortune. So as you can imagine, it's a casino-based gambling town, and you can tell that there's something amok. Everything from how trials are settled to how taxes are rate is left to the roll of a dice. So every year they'll come out and they'll go, all right, Lady Luck, if we roll a 1, everybody's taxes will be 0. If we roll a 6, everybody's taxes will be increased 6-fold. And for the past 3 years in a row, they've come up 6. So everybody's like, well, that's just Lady Luck, and they just take it at face value for that. Or if you've been accused of murder, they'll just roll a dice, and even if you're innocent, if it rolls up as guilty, you're executed. It's a really engaging town.
Do you think you'll see it through? Because I know you didn't finish No Kuni 1.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I will definitely play this one through, mainly because from what I've read, it's not as long as the first Ni no Kuni, and I didn't read all of the reviews, but from what people said is this does not have a game-breaking hidden final act like the other game did, and that's where I stopped.
What's that on the first one? Sorry, game-breaking final act?
So you think you're getting to the end, and then once you get past that section, like, just kidding, there's a whole nother act here. And from what I talked to Dan about, it's like 30 more hours.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I can't see me finishing that anytime soon.
No.
And I've just started Skyrim for the first time. So
oh, God, good luck. Enjoy that. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on Ni no Kuni, mainly because it's still super fresh, but it's so much fun. The combat, the takeaway from it is the insanely fun combat. That's what keeps me coming back, because it's so fast-paced. It's really satisfying. I didn't get a whole lot of satisfaction out of the combat from the first Ni no Kuni, just because it felt really menu-based and not as fluid. So
yeah,
if I were you,
it's an interesting one on the first one.
Yeah. If I were you, I would definitely pick this one up.
Okay. I mean, I've got far too much to play at the moment.
And I'm playing it in 4K HDR. Oh, God, what a game.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh. I mean, you turn HDR and all that garbage off, and it's like, oh, this looks flat and muddy. And then you turn it on and it just explodes with color.
Well, when we move, I'm hoping to finally dive into getting a 4K TV. I've got the PS4 Pro. But I've started using the boost mode and the super sampling mode, which is designed for obviously people with 1080p TVs. And some games I can already notice the difference in some games. I booted up Metal Gear Solid 5 just to kind of have a nosy, just to see, and it already looks better even without the 4K TV.
Well, and even just the ability to run games at a more fluid frame rate.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So
I want to pick up. I borrowed when I played Horizon. I borrowed it from a friend, and I still want to play the Frozen Wilds. But I know on the PS4 Pro, if you play Horizon, you can put it at full 60 FPS, and
then you throw HDR on, and it's just a whole new game.
Yeah, and I can't wait to play that again, even with the 1080p TV. Like, just to look at that running on the PS4 Pro, it's gonna be good.
Should we take a step back in time to when games weren't as pretty?
Yes, why not?
Why not?
It is a retro gaming show after all.
So, with Tom being gone, we could have stuck with our initial game that I was really excited to play. And then Mike couldn't figure out how to order something properly, and then figured out how to double order something. Brilliant. I'll let you explain that one.
Oh, so we were originally going to play Onimusha, and I ordered it from the CEX website. But what I didn't realize was that I didn't actually press buy now. I thought I'd actually got to the...
He put it in the cart, took a picture, sent it to me, and then closed the tab. Got it!
Right, in my defense, I was out having a meal, and I popped up to the toilet, and I was like, well, I'll quickly have a look. All right, I'll order it now. Done. And then it just got to like a few days later. I was like, why hasn't that arrived yet? So, can't find any email confirmation. All right, apparently must not have ordered it. I looked on my PayPal. I was like, nope, definitely not ordered it. So then went back on the CEX website, ordered it, didn't pay any attention to the price that came up, and it turns out the original copy was still in my basket. So I just ordered it twice, and didn't even realize until they both turned up. I was like, oh, this is strange. Oh, I've got two.
I guess I'm kind of an idiot. Hazel, did you order one too?
We've only got one PlayStation 2, but we could try and play it at the same time. I put 2 discs in at once.
Made a weird grinding noise, and then it caught on fire. I'm really disappointed because I started playing that game immediately after the last show. I really want to play it.
And now you're going to have to wait again because I'd like you to wait until I'm back on.
And then we got to convince Dan to buy it. That's going to be a Herculean feat.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'd rather buy a Pro Controller.
I'd rather go to Australia.
I can't afford $2. Just went to Australia.
None of us can do a good Dan accent.
Nah, I won't even attempt Geordie. I can't do it.
I just now go, what?
I'm happy just to carry on being Rocky when I'm talking.
So we did a last-minute audible and switched to the classic Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Released in...
I wish we'd done...
Go ahead.
I wish we'd done the second one, if I'm honest.
Yeah, maybe down the road.
Well, down the road, I see those chimps in the future.
No. Released in November of 1994, the third best-selling Super Nintendo game of all time.
To be fair, though, have you seen what it's behind?
Yes.
Super Mario World and Super Mario All-Stars. Being third behind those is nothing to be sniffed at.
Oh, no. Which, kind of surprising because it's not my favorite. Like, just in general, I played this game a ton as a kid. I just don't have that connection with it.
In what context? What sort of connection do you know?
I don't know. It's just never, like... You know how when you play Super Mario World, you get that feeling like, yeah, this just... It's like taking a warm bath. Like, this just feels good. I don't have that with Donkey Kong Country. I'm like, it's Donkey Kong.
If you're comparing it to Super Mario World, for a start, this feels very bare bones compared to Super Mario World.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you think about Super Mario World, you've got the interactive world map. There's all the secrets on the world map. There's not really any power-ups. I mean, I know there's the animals, which changes the gameplay up a little bit, and there's the water levels. But generally, most levels you're going through just as you are. You don't get anything that boosts your power. There's no invincibility power-up. There's nothing to make you fly, nothing to make you more powerful, nothing to make you faster. So if you are going to compare it to Super Mario World, yeah, it's very, very bare bones.
But it did pioneer 3D pixels, or 3D sprites.
Yeah, this game still looks pretty good. I mean, I played this on my SNES Classic, and I had it on Pixel Perfect mode at first. I was like, oh, this actually looks a little rough. And I changed it to the CRT filter mode, and it just infinitely looked better straight away, because everything looks so jaggy on the Pixel Perfect mode.
Yeah.
And for a game as old as this... the models themselves, like Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, for example, they look absolutely incredible, especially for the time.
Oh, yeah. I remember when this came out playing, I'm like, this is insane. I mean, it's nothing short of a technical marvel, especially considering what it was released alongside. You know, for not having full 3D rendering capabilities of the PlayStation and N64, they did a damn good job, and it shockingly held up well.
I mean, I was reading something before. Let me find it. So David Wise, the Rare's composer, around that time, he said that Rare had to purchase workstations to create it
with the Alias and SGI chips.
Yeah, it cost them £80,000 each.
That is a financial investment. A little bit?
Yeah, just a little.
Well, when...
apparently they developed a compression technique in-house that gave them more detail and animation for the sprites.
And as soon as Nintendo saw their tech demo of what they were doing, because this style of graphic originally for them had started out as a boxing game. So then Nintendo immediately acquired 49% of Rare and shifted development into... a Donkey Kong game.
Speaking of Rare and me playing the SNES Classic, how many times have we sat here going, and you might end up coming up with a reason for this, but how many times have we sat here being Johnny Big Potatoes going, oh, if they make an N64 Classic, they won't get all the good games because they've got Rare. But this is by Rare, and this is on the SNES Classic.
I guess you'd have to look into who actually owns the IP at that point.
But I mean, we've debated Donkey Kong 64 and Diddy Kong Racing and gone, nah, that ain't going to be on there.
That's a good point. We never really correlated that.
I was thinking about it earlier.
We've changed our mind. New leaf, something like that.
New music, new attitude.
Yeah. The development for this game was kind of second to none at the time. I mean, they had to get Donkey Kong to move. They had to move how he is in the game. They'd gone to zoos and they had videotaped gorillas moving around, hoping to make him look like an actual gorilla.
They went to Tricross Zoo.
Yeah.
They went to Tricross Zoo, which I took Hazel to for her birthday last year.
Well, what's interesting is the takeaway from it is gorillas don't really move in a way that's conducive to a video game, so we're going to make him run more like a horse. For Diddy Kong, he was originally supposed to be a variation of Donkey Kong Jr., but they didn't like the design for what they had done with him, so they said you either need to make him exactly Donkey Kong Jr. or create a new character. So they came up with a character called Dinky Kong, which, on legal advice, were advised to change his name.
Yeah, I've read that. Legal advice from what? I mean, what else could it have contended with that had Dinky? I wasn't sure on that one.
I think it's something sexual.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Look at my Dinky Kong.
Your droopy Dinky Kong.
Dinky Kong is droopy. So,
God.
The game itself is pretty bare bones in that it's a basic side-scrolling platformer. You have 3 different ways you can play. You can play solo, obviously, where you can control Donkey Kong, and then you can collect Diddy Kong as well. And if you get hit by an enemy, you lose one or the other, and that other one takes over. Each character has different capabilities. Diddy Kong can obviously move faster and jump a little higher. Donkey Kong has his hand slap ability.
What?
His hand slap ability.
What the fuck's that?
Good question. I don't fucking know because I didn't ever use it.
Oh, okay. Wasn't aware that was a thing.
Mm-hmm. You know what else I didn't realize was a thing until I made it almost to the glacial levels?
Go on.
You can sprint.
Eric. Jesus fucking
Shut
Christ.
up. Shut up.
Fuck's sake. How were you dealing with some of the harder jumps?
I don't know.
So, to put it into context, this plays a bit like Mario, where
oh yeah, sure. In Mario, I run the entire fucking time.
Yeah,
shut up.
You hold
no,
the
I'm
Y
not
button
proud
down.
of it. I'm not proud of it. Didn't say I was proud of that. But in keeping with full disclosure here, I have to tell you, I fucked up. I'm an idiot.
Oh man. So you must have been save stating like a mother bitch.
Oh, yeah, and then there was some really I was bitching about one part where I couldn't make this jump because I needed to get the frog there, and then you physically couldn't get the frog there, and somehow I managed to get the frog there to jump across. And as soon as I found out I could sprint, I'm like, this game's fucking easy.
I played this like Mario. The Y button was down the entire time.
Oh, yeah, as soon as I figured that out. Because I'm like, man, Donkey Kong runs slow. I think where I figured it out is there's a level where you're being chased by a beaver in a grindstone. And I had Donkey Kong.
This was going to be my next question.
Like, how do I get by this? I just don't know. And then I figured out I could run. Made it over halfway through the game without running. That's skill.
Jesus Christ. You realize I take the piss out of Hazel all the fucking time for not realizing Mario could run.
Yeah, I do too, Mike. I'm not proud of it. No, I'm a little embarrassed, actually. Probably should. I'm going to edit that out.
Nope.
Oh, no.
So we were talking about the design of the game. Interestingly enough, Miyamoto said in an interview around the time that Donkey Kong Country proves that players will put up with mediocre gameplay as long as the art is good.
Yeah.
Miyamoto later recanted his statement, blaming the pressure placed on him during the development of Yoshi's Island to make it look like Donkey Kong Country. Apparently worked closely with Rare in the development of the Donkey Kong Country game. But I did find something else about that. Hang on, let me find it.
Is it in regard to the difficulty?
Somewhere. No, there was something. Hang on, what did I do with it? This is why I should put it in notes. There was something. There we go. Yeah, he also did. Shigeru Miyamoto designed DK's new look himself. For years, some crusty old Nintendo fans turned their noses up at the new hit version of Donkey Kong seen in the DK Country games. This was mostly based on the false assumption that the new version of DK was solely creation of Rare. These trolls got their comeuppance over a decade later when Miyamoto revealed the burly, spit-curled country version of DK was actually based on a sketch of his.
Oh.
But apparently it was then Rare that added the tie.
Yeah, because that was in no. The tie was introduced in Donkey Kong Land on the Game Boy.
Oh, okay.
So then they just kept. Where is it? You're right. I just had that as well, so I should have.
Here we go. This is what I was looking for. So basically, Miyamoto was frustrated with Donkey Kong Country. Basically, Nintendo higher-ups wanted all major Nintendo games to use the rare style visuals that Miyamoto didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he didn't like being told what to do. So in a kind of passive-aggressive move, he produced Yoshi's Island to look like it was made with crayons.
Huh. It's kind of
Because
a middle finger.
Yeah, he hated the look of it so much that he designed a game that looked completely different.
Interesting. Yeah, because if you look at... what is it, Yoshi's Story on the N64, it looks very similar to a modernized version of Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, it does actually. Now that you mention
it looks like shit. I've never seen the appeal of that game. The initial version of the game, when Rare brought it to Nintendo, was so difficult that Nintendo made them significantly reduce the difficulty.
There's some hard bits in this as well. How hard must it have been? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, they wanted the game to appeal to a broad audience, and the game does have a lot of secrets to it. So, mainly within the level, you've got hidden areas that you can throw barrels at and find secret stages with more bananas, or these gold icons. So there's a bunch of animals that you can use as partner, or you can use as vehicles, I guess, for lack of a better term. You have, I didn't know they all had names. So there's Rambi the rhino, Espresso the ostrich, On Guard the swordfish, Winky the frog, and Squawks the parrot.
Yeah, I think in this one, Squawks is just used for lights on some of the levels, isn't he? Because I believe my memory of number 2 is quite hazy, but I remember number 3 quite a bit because I played that when I rented that quite a bit when I was younger, and I know there's a point where you actually ride the parrot in the third one for sure. Because you can shoot the things out of its mouth as you're going along.
So each of those enemies, or each of those animals, has gold icons associated with them, and when you collect 3 of them, they take you to a special stage where you use that animal to run around and collect a bunch of other smaller golden icons of that animal, and then however many hundred of those you collect, you get that many lives.
Which, the first time I got to one of those, it was with the swordfish, and I
love that one.
It was great, and I didn't realize that it was just a case of getting extra lives until the time ran out, and the time was getting closer and closer to 0. I was like, well, I've barely collected any of these. How the fuck are you supposed to do this? Because I thought you had to get them all.
Oh. The one thing I really like design-wise of this game is that there's no on-screen HUD.
No, there isn't at all. It all comes up just when it needs to.
So when you collect a banana, it'll pop down and add it to the count, and then it'll disappear.
Yeah, and it did that. It carried that on with the other 2, and it does give it a very unique look in that sense, and it makes everything look so fresh and so clear, so fresh and so clean.
Well, even still to this day, people will remark about a game that's created without a HUD because it's such a stark departure from what a typical game is. A lot of games are like, oh, you need all this information on the screen for you to process, but it proves that you don't. You don't need all of that to still enjoy a game because it makes it more cinematic.
No, and it doesn't give you any context at all. Like, at the very beginning of the game, I mean, if you wanted storyline element, basically you get, when you first start the game, you can go into this little cave on the left, and you see that Donkey Kong's bananas are all gone, and he looks a bit sad about it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the only context you're giving of the game. You know, you're not... It's one of those old school games where it just feels right. You start the game, you know you can jump. Most people realize they can dash.
Not me.
And it's one you learn everything you can do straight away. And it doesn't need all this information on screen. I mean, it is funny because it is a bit of a collectathon, really. Because so there's also the Kong letters, isn't there? So you can get the K, the O, the N, and G on each level. Find all 4 of those, you get an extra life. But it is a collectathon in that sense. I think Dan had scour every single stage for every.
So some of those Kong tokens, I just don't understand how to get, Some of them are at the bottom of a pit. Like, how are you supposed to get that without dying?
Yeah, I never understood, because I know on the, again, this is referring back to Donkey Kong 3, and it could have been in 2 as well, but on Donkey Kong 3, you've got Dixie Kong and you've got Kiddy Kong, so you've got the big and small dynamic like Diddy and Donkey in this, but you can use Kiddy Kong in that to throw Dixie, and you use it to get items, so like those where they'd be in the pits like that, you'd throw Dixie towards him, she'd collect it, and then come straight back, and I forgot that isn't in this. So I spent the first level trying to figure out how to get Diddy onto Donkey Kong's back to do that maneuver, and it's just not in there.
You can press the A button to switch the character, and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, what does this hand slap do that neither me and you know about?
It just allows you to... I don't even know how to do it. I was reading about it. I was just kind of reading a quick blurb to refresh myself with some of the stuff and saw that it was in there. I'm like, well, I never knew the hand slap. Apparently it just allows him to reveal hidden banana bunches. That's all I know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Apparently you press down and Y.
Oh. Well, I'm not going to go through every pixel of that game pressing down and Y to find bananas.
Nah, well, you couldn't even find the run button.
They need to label that or something. This game, also, not very strong in the physics department.
You on about the ropes?
Also, the beaver in the grindstone that just follows you through thin air.
Oh, yeah.
So you run through this one section in the ruins, and this beaver in the grindstone drops behind you and starts chasing you. And you get to this giant pit that has swinging ropes. And you're like, great, I'm in the clear. So you grab the one rope and you swing back and you get hit by the grindstone that's now levitating above this open pit and just continuing forward. And there wasn't a ramp. It's not like he launched himself. He just went straight off of a cliff and just kept going.
There's a level later on where... because generally they cover this quite well, but there's a level later on that I don't think you would... Where did you get to the glaciers?
Yeah, like the fourth level through the glacier?
I was in the next bit after that. It's kind of like factory area.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it. And there's this bit where like you go on this like it looks like a small piece of like a like the tracks on a tank. It looks like one of those, and you go on there and it automatically moves, and you have to go through the level on that. And there's a bit later on where you have to jump on some tires, but a few of the tires are just levitating in midair, which seems very strange because the rest of the game, whenever you had areas like that, there was always like just a piece of rock or anything like that there.
Yeah.
But in these factory bits, just levitating tires.
Makes sense, physics.
Yeah,
I think we owe it to talk about the minecart level because that's kind of what everybody clings to in this game.
Motherfucking minecart.
I don't know why you don't like those.
Before we get to it, I got to the next one, which is much later on, and I found the second one easier than the first one.
You found what?
The second minecart level that I got to, which is not far past where I found it much easier, and I would have thought it'd be much harder.
Huh. I didn't struggle with any of them.
It's a very specific bit in that first one where, because generally, like obviously the minecart doesn't jump very high, does it? And there's a very specific bit where you have to jump over a pit. You're level with the other pit, but at the very start of the next pit, there's an overturned minecart, and you've got to get the jump in the precise place. And I spent so long doing it.
Where you got the little short sections and you have to jump over the minecart that's kind of crashed at the end of it to get to the next.
Yeah, that's the one. And the frustrating thing is, I was, as I said, was playing this on the SNES Classic, and to save it, to use your save states, you've got to press the reset button on the actual console, and then you go into the menu and then you press Y to overwrite your game where it is, or press A to select a game save state. And those first few levels, I kept fucking it up and accidentally like going right back to the beginning of the level and losing my save state.
Good lord.
I know. But I got to a point where because I was playing it upstairs in the bedroom quite a bit, but I brought it downstairs, and obviously the cable on the SNES Classic, the controller cable's ridiculously short. So I got to I set myself up with like a really long HDMI cable, and like the SNES Classic was on the floor next to my foot, and I was just using my toe to press the reset button when I needed to.
That sounds like an inconvenient reset.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there was some levels where like I kept dying, and that reset button was getting more toe than Dan Curtis on a weekend.
Oh, poor Dan. Poor Dan. I've been playing it on the Raspberry Pi, and finally got the save stating set up. But so I have my PS4 controller hooked up to it, and it's the touchpad for an L1 for load and touchpad and R1 for save. I can't tell you how many times I messed that up. It's like, oh, you're dying, save. Oh,
Whoops.
whoops. Yeah, I don't know.
I always have to remind myself when I'm doing it like that, right? L, load. L for load.
Oh, that's a good way to think
load.
of it. And R for
I think that might be the idea.
Go
Or
ahead
rave.
and save right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or just rave.
rave. Yeah. I don't know if that works, but we'll go with it.
Nah, all right.
The boss battles
But
are
so-
underwhelming.
Oh, very. Oh, my God. Right. I know I keep going back to Donkey Kong 3 because that's the one I've got the most experience with. But I specifically remember I think it's the first boss of Donkey Kong 3. It's like this giant barrel, and it spits these beetles out, and you have to kill the beetles and then throw the beetles into the mouth of the giant barrel. And each time it does it, it kind of weirdly, it does this kind of strange sneeze thing. And it goes backwards, and you have to basically get the barrel to go backwards far enough to fall down the pit. And I always remember that, and it was always very interesting. And I thought the bosses were the same on this. I thought it'd be really interesting. No,
Nope.
they're all on the same background of just giant piles of bananas.
And you jump on their head off of a tire 3 times or 4 times, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I also remember another boss on number 3 where it's like this kind of floating mech thing. And I can't remember how to beat that off the top of my head because I've only got vague memories of it. And again, thinking of that and going to this, and it was so bland, and they don't look great as well. Like there's one of those weird gerbil things. It's the first boss, isn't it?
That's a beaver, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Beaver.
Beaver, gerbil, tomato, rutabaga, whatever.
It's been blown up, so it's bigger than the other ones, but it looks like they've just taken the original sprite and stretched it.
Oh yeah,
And
they
it looked
didn't.
terrible,
They
yeah.
didn't try to design it any better.
Nah, not at all. I mean, I don't think you would have got to it because I think it was the boss of the next section. There's one later on where it's just a giant barrel that like comes down to try and crush you, and you just avoid the barrel, and then it turns over to its side and drops some enemies out. You then have to kill the enemies, and then the barrel keeps trying to get you again. And all you literally have to do is just keep avoiding the barrel, and it kills itself.
Moron.
Yeah.
I do like the bee boss though. That one did have a little bit of difficulty to it.
Remind me. Good sir.
So there's the bee that will fly towards you from either side, and then you have to hit it with the barrel, and then it'll start doing the bouncing attack on you. So you can either avoid the bouncing attack or hit it with another barrel to kind of push it back until it goes out of its fury mode, and then rinse repeat. So that one did have some modicum of challenge to it, but the
Don't
others...
they do the gerbil twice? I'm sure I faced the gerbil again. The beaver, I keep saying gerbil. I'm sure I faced the beaver again.
I don't know.
I'm being terribly disappointed.
Mm.
But yeah, not exciting at all. Again, just I feel like this was an idea, and they really pushed upon it for the next two.
Yeah, it set the groundwork. I mean, this was kind of, as with any good series, the first one is a little lackluster. You go back, for example, and try to play the first Uncharted. It is rough.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely laid the groundwork. Like I said, the Donkey Kong games have just never really been my cup of coffee.
I don't know. I've always... I have better memories of this game than I think, but I actually believe that I might not have played this one before. Like, I think it just because I've played the second and third one more than any others, I went in thinking this would be like that, and obviously I have memories that haven't actually happened.
I think that's called the Mandela effect.
Yeah, I was constantly always trying to, like I said before, the whole being able to throw the other chimp, and no good.
And I never played Donkey Kong Country 2 or 3, but then I jumped in with Donkey Kong Country Returns.
That's supposedly very good.
It is excellent. Very difficult. Whoo, boy, is it difficult.
Is it just straight up levels on there? Because I know, again, mentioning Donkey Kong 3 again, on their world map, there's different sections and hidden bits. So, on this one, basically, the world map is just going from level to level. On number 3, I always remember, so you'd get different vehicles, and you use the vehicles to access the different sections of the map. And then after you've beat that part of the map, you get another item to take back to Funky Kong, who would alter your vehicle to give you, you end up going from a boat to a hovercraft, and the hovercraft can go over rocks, so you can access different parts of the map to get to the different levels. And there's actual secrets in there as well, so there's like a hidden island that you have to do a certain thing on the map to find.
I don't remember. I played that when the weekend it came out on the Wii, 6 years ago or so.
On the weekend.
The weekend. Audio for this game is stellar. I really enjoy the soundtrack on this one.
Yes, I have a bit of trivia about the.
Triviaize me.
You know the underwater levels with that fantastic mellow piece.
No,
you don't know the underwater levels.
I do. I said yeah. No.
Oh, I thought he was going. Nah. Supposedly, almost didn't make the game as it pushes the SNES's audio capabilities to the limit and took up a large portion of the system's RAM. Took David Wise, the creator, the composer, took him over 5 weeks just to get that one song working.
To get that one song what?
To get that one song working. That's really hard to say. That one song working took him over 5 weeks.
Interesting. Apparently, I'm reading about an Easter egg. So the Animal Buddy bonus game that you get to play, where it's like a slot machine.
Yes.
So at the opening of the game, if you press down Y, down Y, you can go to a cave that allows you to practice that.
Oh, interesting. That's what the hand slap is for, then?
Maybe, yeah. And press that Y button. I don't know. It's Donkey Kong. I mean, I think there's a reason that it's the third best-selling Super Nintendo game of all time, but it's just never really been.
It's also the highest-selling non-bundled 16-bit game ever.
Huh. They never did a Donkey Kong bundle?
I don't believe so. Though I mean, I can't talk about America, but over here, the SNES always came with Mario All-Stars. Well, Mario. I think some came with just Mario World, and then a lot of them, because the one that I got, it was bundled with the cartridge that had Mario All-Stars and Mario World on.
Wait, so back to Dan's logic here for a second.
Go on.
He won't buy a Pro Controller because he said that if they wanted him to use it, they should have included it with the console, right?
Right.
Does that mean that he should never really buy any games? Because if they wanted him to play games on it, they should have included the games?
So he can only ever buy a Master System because it has Alex Kidd built in.
He's just got a whole bunch of consoles sitting around. Boy, it'd sure been nice that it'd given me something to play.
Oh, that PS2 memory screen gets me going.
I can put my CDs into it.
Oh, I can change the time. I can look at the memory card with nothing on it.
I can put my PS1 games in if I'd have bought any with my PS1, but
the only thing he's played on PS1 is Demo 1 that was bundled with it.
And whatever came in his PlayStation magazine.
I just love controlling that dinosaur so much.
He just has to wait for whatever game he really wants for them to do a special console of. And he just keeps buying consoles.
Oh dear, poor Dan.
Poor Dan. Sorry, Dan.
But yeah, anyway, so the SNES over here came bundled with Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World on the same cartridge.
Oh, that's the coveted cartridge right there.
It's funny, because my experience of most of the Super Mario games. Well, no, my first experience of all of the Super Mario games was from when I got a SNES and played Super Mario 1, 2, and 3 and everything on there. And you know that they did the upgraded graphics, didn't they? They upgraded the sprites and everything.
For Super Mario World?
No, so on that cartridge, which has Super Mario All-Stars and Super Mario World on it, Mario's 1, 2, and 3, they upgraded the sprites and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
I knew that.
So that was my first experience of those games. Even now, when I see the original Mario 3 and see the older sprite, I go, fuck, man, I remember that looking better, and then I have to realise.
Huh.
I always hate the fact that in Mario... This is going off on a tangent here, but I always hate the fact that on the original Mario 3, when you picked up a Fire Flower, he just turned kind of orange and didn't get his awesome white suit.
He didn't, did he?
No, he does on the updated sprite version.
Huh.
He does, but...
We'll have to explore that game sometime for the show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For that.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say about Donkey Kong.
It's Donkey Kong, isn't it?
It's Donkey Kong.
Yeah, there's not much else to say. I mean, if you like a 2D platformer, it's a good one to go to. I think the sequels are better. It's Donkey Kong 3, generally what I've seen, seems to be not rated too well, but I have good memories of it, and I remember it being better than this. But in the words of Alkaline Trio, I was just a stupid kid back then.
Yeah.
So who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
Should we move on to some questions?
Did we get any?
I have an email. If you want to send us an email, factorysealed@manatank.com. Our one and only email comes from Adam Dallas. Hey, all...
Ooh, can I give you another bit of trivia first before we move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Universal Pictures tried to sue Nintendo over Donkey Kong's similarities to King Kong.
Oh, yeah.
And they lost the lawsuit and had to pay all of Nintendo's legal fees because Universal didn't actually own the rights to King Kong. It was a public domain.
Moron.
Basically, it says here, if Universal had won, Nintendo probably wouldn't exist.
Huh. Interesting.
Stupid is that?
I'm going to sue you for something I don't own.
And apparently, it was originally intended for the N64 when they originally started developing it. Rare basically figured out how to get the 3D modeled visuals working on the SNES, so it came out much earlier on a different console.
Good for them.
Yeah, very good for them. Anyway, email.
Adam Dallas. Hey, all, I'd love to hear you guys do Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance, one of my all-time favorite RPGs, well ahead of its time on that console. Also, as a side note, Tom, I moved from the UK to New Hampshire, so if you have any questions about relocating at all or need my advice, just ask best Adam. See, he made the right choice and actually moved to the States. Tom got close.
Yeah, but not a bright boy, that Tom, is he? I take that back, Tom. I'm joking.
That's his beep beep for the day.
Yeah, that's the one and only bus moment.
We are on Facebook. If you want to follow us, we've got a thriving community of lovely people at facebook.com/group/Factory Sealed Podcast.
Yeah, you're all fantastic, and we upload silly stuff on there as well.
Yeah. That's where you can keep up with most of what we're doing. I know there's a lot of other places out there where people interact, but just ease of use for us, that's where we find the most interaction, because we want to engage people.
We can post as ourselves, can't we? I mean, if we have it just as a Facebook group, there's the actual Factory Sealed, you can only have one of you logged in at a time. And
Twitter's just a straight-up pain in the ass. I'm not.
It's too much.
I'm not a
too
fan.
Much.
Did you post the Donkey Kong Country questionnaire for this week or not?
I did, but there was no responses.
Nothing. Oh.
No.
I mean,
we need to do more popular games.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, apparently people were excited that we were switching. So I guess with that, I have no idea what we're playing next because you won't be here. I don't know who will be here. So we're just going to kind of leave it at that.
Yes. Hang on, I'm just thinking, because you put that original post about Donkey Kong out. I'm just seeing if there's any comments on there.
Let's see.
Where is it?
Search for...
Where is it?
Where is it? 7 comments.
Where's your post?
I found it, Michael.
All right. I'll let you deal with it.
There were no questions, just comments.
No.
Yeah.
Any good comments?
I mean, they're all good. People just happy that we're doing that.
Hooray! Well, you should have asked more questions then if you're so happy.
Yeah.
Only kidding. I love you all. You're fantastic.
Maybe just nobody has questions about Donkey Kong.
Well, like I said, Donkey Kong, innit?
It is Donkey Kong. So we're going to come up with whatever the hell we're going to try to play next.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just going to be you and Dan next show, if I'm honest.
Ugh. I'm going to cancel the next show.